it is a very special Shabbat for many reasons. But I think the most important one, which I think I haven't said that yet. I spoke about this to a portion already, I don't know, 4 times over the last week. The most important reason this is an important Shabbat is because it was my bar mitzvah in this Shabbat. And an interesting thing that happened. By that time, my parents came to the realization that my sister and I had a year and a half of a difference. They didn't think about that when they were having children. But when we were 13 and 12, they realized that it was only a year. And they said, don't you want, what? A double, yes. That's exactly what they offered. And it was a great deal in terms of making a party, and it was a great idea. And it was a great deal for other reasons. Because my sister was a total nerd then. And then I wasn't. We grew up in a conservative, very liberal conservative, but conservative shul in the extreme liberalism of conservative Judaism. It was founded by a progressive Reform rabbi. But the Torah service was really, really long, and certainly longer than what we do here. And my sister learned it all. She learned the entire Torah portion, and I got 4 sentences that I needed to read, and I was insecure about them. But whatever, I was okay, we'll do this. And an interesting, or I think a very, very interesting thing is that at that time, I loved Judaism, and I loved Jewish tradition. And I kind of whatever Torah. I didn't have a strong sense of thinking about Torah and the study of Torah, even though I like the study of Torah, but the ritual component of reading Torah, it didn't click with me. I didn't think about that very seriously then. Leave this story for a moment here. One of the main components, one of the central components of this Torah portion, or one of the central words, and I have been speaking about this word for the last couple of days, in different perspectives of this word, is the word Makom, place, which is also one of the names that we use for God. We say, Vayeitzei Yaakov, vayelech harana, ויפגע במקום, וילן שם, כי בא השמש, וישכב במקום. וישן כי בא השמש, ויקח מאבני המקום, וישכב במקום. So, Jacob goes out from Beersheba to Haran, and we say, ויפגע במקום, and he came upon certain place. Then he gathered from the stones of that place. He will use them as a pillow to take a little nap. And he'll lay down in the place. The word place appears 3 times. And at the end of this nap that he's taking, the word place will appear once again. Jacob will say, מה נורא מקום זה, שלוהים במקום הזה, בנוחי לא ידעתי. What an awesome place this is. There is God in this place, and I didn't know. There's a story that you might have heard me sharing, and I will do it once again if you have. It's a story about a guy whose name was Izzy, who lived in Krakow. Izzy had a dream. He was a person of very limited resources, financially speaking, and had a dream. And in his dream, there was under a bridge in the city of Budapest a very special treasure. And he had that dream not once, nor twice, but every single night. Can you believe it? Like to have the same dream every night? It's actually tough. But Izzy was very consistent. And at some point, he started to think and say, maybe I need to go to the bridge and look what's under the bridge, because there might be a treasure waiting for me. This might be the answer to all my problems. He thought about it, and at some point he said, I'm going to go. So he enters the journey, he travels from the city of Krakow to the city of Budapest. And when he makes it, and there's a name to this bridge that I cannot remember at the moment, the Charles Bridge, thank you. That's really big, maybe a smaller one. But anyway, he makes it to the bridge. And the first night, goes under the bridge and walks around, and is afraid of digging a hole in the ground. He feels observed, so he doesn't do anything. He comes a second night. He doesn't do anything. He comes a third night, and then he's approached by a police officer. Like, man, what are you doing here? We have been looking at you. This is not your first night here. This is the third night in a row that you are coming to this place, and you seem to be like from out of town. So what's the story? And Izzy, quite embarrassed, says, well, you will not believe me, but I've been dreaming almost my entire life that there is a treasure hidden under this bridge for me. And the police officer breaks out in a very sarcastic laughing. Very sarcastic laughing. I said to him, and that's why you came here? I've been dreaming for 20 years that there is a guy in Krakow, his name is Izzy, who has a treasure under his bed, and you don't see me exploring the city of Krakow. Izzy said to the police officer, you're right. Thank you very much. He left. He digged under his bed. And what did he find? A treasure. Sometimes we feel out of place. Very often we feel that we are in the wrong place. And that there should be an answer for us somewhere else. That the synagogue is not my place. I'm a Jew, but the synagogue is not my place. Or the house of study, that's not my place. There should be an answer for me, but somewhere else. It wasn't for me when I was growing up, my bar mitzvah, right? Like, who knew? That it was difficult for me when I was a child to go to shul. As a matter of fact, there was a beloved teacher. There was an arcade store around the corner in my synagogue, and I would meet this teacher and before Shabbat services on Friday nights. It wasn't Shabbat yet. And we would go play a few coins, and then I would go to shul with him. That's how I started to go to shul. Who knew that I needed some other motivation to find my place in my place? But the reality is that very often, we don't have the ability to recognize the treasures that we have in our own places. And we keep being focused on finding it somewhere else, when what we actually really need to look for is for what we have with Him. I'll give you one more thing. That's the reason we put mezuzot. That's the reason we mark the entrance of our homes. To remind ourselves the difference between the outside world and the inside world, and that many of the things that we are supposed to look for, they are once we enter through those doors and are right there at home. So where is the synagogue, the house of study? There's something awesome in recognizing that even if you are feeling out of your space, you are right in the place, you're right at the spot that you are supposed to be. And it is on us to recognize that that place might be awesome. Shabbat Shalom.